In Grimm's version of the fairy tale, my sister and I were so unremarkable we didn't even get names, but hey, at least we were described as beautiful. In Disney's version, they finally gave us names. But can you remember them? No, I bet all you recall are two ugly stepsisters with terrible hair, nasolabial folds that scream 70 years old, annoying voices, and gigantic feet. But let me tell you, we weren't ugly, especially me. Honestly, I was a looker from the right angle. I could have used a nose job if that was a thing back then, but I had great hair, a banging body, and deep eyes that looked like dark pools you could drown in, or so I've been told. The real issue wasn't us, it was Cinderella. Next to her, anyone looked like a gnarly potato. You know when you feel fabulous, skin glowing, hair on point, outfit slaying, and then see a celebrity on Instagram and feel like you're from another planet. That's the Cinderella effect. And the biggest joke, she was never a victim or forced to be our maid. She was just a control freak with oct, scrubbing everything like a maniac. No one asked her to do that. She didn't love being a nobody, so slowly she spun her story. Soon we were the villains. She was the poor servant girl, and I was the bitter hag stealing her man, but he was mine first. I'm Drella, back from the dead to tell the true story of how Cinderella pulled off one of history's greatest cons. She got the name, the ball, the prince, the pigeons, the merch, and eternal adoration, all built on lies, except the big feet part. I was told to shop men's shoes my whole life. Maybe that's why I became the villain. How dare I imagine myself a princess with my US size 11 feet. But I digress. I must stay on track, and even though my version of events isn't a charming fairy tale, let's begin the story the right way. Once upon a time, there was a man with a family, a fortune, and a functioning household. Naturally, he had a midlife crisis and ran for the hills, gone to figure myself out. Don't wait for me, and tell your mother it's not me, it's her. I wasn't shocked, honestly. We'd be idiots if we hadn't seen this coming. I crave adventure. This provincial family life is suffocating my soul. Someday I'll leave to seek my higher purpose. Marriage and fatherhood can't be it. But mother was blindsided, shocked, bamboozled. Why had he left? Was it because she wasn't pretty enough, young enough? Maybe her elbows were too pointy. I tried to explain that it was more about him being a spineless lizard running away from adult responsibility, but she just sank deeper into despair. Without a husband around, she went into full damsel in distress mode. Oh, how I crave pickles. If only I had a man with strong arms to open this jar for me. Never mind that she had servants to open all the jars in the world and two perfectly decent daughters. Okay, fine, one decent daughter, because the other one was Anastasia. Let's just say we didn't know back then that excessive glue sniffing causes brain damage. Anastasia, we have to run this household. Mother has plenty of money, but we need to start budgeting. Why? Because budgeting means keeping track of our expenses. For instance, how much do we spend on candles per week? Candles? At least 11. What? I meant money. How much money do we spend on candles? We spend money on them. No, Anastasia, they just grow on trees, and we pluck them like fruit. Yep, this was my partner in responsibility. Her loyalty was unwavering, as was her misunderstanding of absolutely everything. But soon, we had a much bigger problem. Mother was dying for attention from men, and word of her wealth spread fast, sending every gold-digging bachelor within 100 miles our way. Okay, Anastasia, are we ready for afternoon tea? Absolutely. I ordered those fancy pastries Mother loves. No, not the actual tea, the plan. Are we ready for the plan? Oh, the plan, right. I discovered that the fastest way to drive off unwanted suitors was to casually mention Dad and watch Mother spiral through all 5 stages of grief. But then I made the biggest mistake of my life. I hired a gardener. Ma'am, thank you for the position. If it pleases you, my daughter Ella will also be staying with me in the servants' quarters. And that's when I first saw her. Her hair was like honey catching sunlight. her skin like porcelain, and her patched-up linen dress looked better than any silk I owned. Every feature on her face was in perfect harmony, and then she smiled. We didn't know it yet, but the entire trajectory of our lives was rewritten at that moment. Oh my, just look at you, child, like something out of a dream. And that's when I knew I disliked her intensely. Part of me thought it was jealousy, but I just had a feeling that beneath that flawless facade was someone calculating and dangerous. At first, she just helped, polished the silver, dusted the bookshelves, organized the pantry, but then she started having ideas for everything. She rearranged the furniture, suggested new colors for the curtains, and soon, Mother wanted her opinion on everything. The house sparkled, the cutlery gleamed, and I could see my reflection in the floors. But I couldn't help being bothered by how she had Mother and Anastasia wrapped around her little finger, and then there was the dancing. At the end of the harvest season, Cinderella joined the servants to dance. She didn't dance like a girl raised in servant quarters, she danced like the air was conspiring to hold her up. Everyone was mesmerized. And that was the first time I heard Mother say it, "Not like my girls." But it wasn't the last. Soon, Mother was drawing comparisons between her and us all the time, and I just found being around Cinderella unbearable. It's not like I was even needed around the house anymore, so I started slipping away more often to Henry, the boy I met in the old estate. But then chaos erupted. Mother was wailing, Anastasia was blocking out the sound with pastries, and Cinderella was on the floor at Mother's feet. A picture of despair. Mr. Rivers had run off with Mother's jewels, leaving Cinderella behind. For a moment, I felt hope. Surely, Mother would toss Cinderella out after this, but no, Mother embraced her, and Cinderella became the tragic heroine. As Cinderella sobbed into Mother's lap, she shot me a sideways glance that clearly said, "Checkmate." Mr. Rivers' betrayal just cemented Cinderella's place in our home. Now she wasn't just beautiful, she was tragic too.